Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today is August 20th, 2019. And today is Tuesday morning, so nothing major economically scheduled for today. But as the week moves on to Wednesday, Thursday, we do have some major events coming up, so just be aware. Now, looking at the Forex markets, the majors pretty much taper off on lighter volume. That includes the GBP, the Euro, the Swiss franc, and we see that's actually a rotation in the markets. But looking at the Turkish lira, we do see it getting weaker versus the US dollar. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment. Now, looking at the indices, the NASDAQ really leads the market higher. Okay, it was really the high stocks that took us, the high tech stocks, excuse me, that took us higher. Yes, they're going to take a look at that as well individually. And looking at the commodities, gold tapers off below 1,500 as the equity markets get stronger, while the oil rallies to about $56 a barrel, jumping off of our $54 support. Now, looking at the stocks that are taking us higher, it's really the tech stocks, okay, that leads the charge upwards, including specifically Cisco and Apple. Okay, we're going to take a look at those two components as well. And lastly, looking at the cryptos, Bitcoin rallies to the top of the range on our Monday morning at resistance. The question is, will it go higher? So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're looking here at the Euro USD. I don't want to jump into it too far, okay, because it's really trading in a very tight range, about a 20 pip range around this circle. So that's really very inconsistent, okay, and really nothing that we want to jump into. But you do want to keep it on your radar again, just as we hover lower, okay, to these lowers. Now, we'll look at a weekly, you'll see what I mean. You're just at that bottom low at this 110.82-ish level, and that's really hovering with its lows and possibly breaking lower, okay, especially if it breaks this 110-ish level, which we're about 82 pips away from. That is something to keep on your radar, okay? So it might not be the most tradable component today, but you do want to still keep it on the radar, especially as we have major news coming out tomorrow and Thursday. Now, looking at the Turkish lira, this is a daily chart. Now, if you guys remember last year, President Trump and the Prime Minister of Turkey had some major rift last year with this particular pastor that was put into jail. That was what this circled area is. Now, this capitulated up here with a massive decline to the Turkish lira versus the US dollar with some of its economic concerns. Now, we've hit on a monthly basis, okay, on a daily chart, we've hit previous resistance, subsequent support, and sure enough, we bounced off of it. Okay, now it's making its 1, 2, okay. Now, if it continues going here, okay, it may get back to this 5.8-ish level, maybe even 6-ish level if it does continue with this area, okay. So we don't have a bona fide trend yet, but you do have two lines consecutively, okay. If we look at that, just crossing that over. Now, if it does, retrace down to this 5.614-ish level, that would be my point of entry in anticipation that it's going to go up higher. Okay, it is a potential play. Okay, so you do want to keep this on your radar, potentially that it could go on the higher side. Now, jumping into the commodities, let's just go to gold first. This is what I'm talking about. We're trading at 1496 this morning, and this is really our support level. Okay, a minor support level at this 1490-ish level. Now, if we do break that later today, we could see it correct itself. Okay, now this is due for a correction. Okay, because markets are still strong. Okay, if I got a confirmation that we're going into a recession anytime soon, then I would be looking to possibly hold this and buy it in these pullbacks. But, potentially it could go back to the 1450-ish level if it does break this 1494. So keep that in mind as that continues to trade today. Now, looking at oil. All right, now this was the one that you guys have seen me put this up, and this is a Fibonacci retracement. It's been up for quite some time, and you see that we're really honoring every Fibonacci retracement level. Now, 5430-ish level was that area, and sure enough, that was our support area for our Monday morning, and we bounced right off of it. Now, I said if we do break it, if we don't break it, okay, now around these areas, you really got to keep it compared to the general market of the Dow Jones, and sure enough, we did bounce above it. Now, I'd like to see it challenge the 57. Now, remember, oil is trading together with the Dow Jones, at least for now, okay? The two markets are correlated. So every time it bounces, I expect the Dow Jones to bounce and vice versa, Okay, so keep that in mind as this trades later today. If we fizzle out here, we may retrace. That could potentially happen because look, the Dow Jones, looking at it right now, we're looking at, let's take a look at a daily chart just to give you a perspective. At 26,333 is our resistance level. Now we're about 150 points shy of that. And we don't look like we still have the momentum that we had yesterday. Okay, so we had a gap up yesterday and we finished close to our highs. Okay, but I would like to see some sort of continuation here. Otherwise, we may get a correction on the downside. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going back to 25,300-ish level, but we may find a new footing, a new trading range between the 26,333 being the higher end, and somewhere around the 25,700-ish level being the lower end. Okay, until we get some sort of confirmation. I mean, we are going into September in a couple of weeks, so that's really when the market starts picking up and we do get some sense of where we're going there. Now, this is very reminiscent, okay, of 1997, 1998, where the Dow Jones initially took the markets higher and then the NASDAQ picked up, and that was what carried the markets in going into 2000, the year 2000, okay, and that's sure enough what's going on here. Looking at the NASDAQ, it's the one that's closer to its upper range. Now, I did make this, distinction. If we look here, okay, this was basically, all right, the same kind of move. Look at this, okay? We had the massive sell-off, we had the bounce, a little bit of a rotation there, and then a second bounce. Now, whereas the Dow Jones is trading about 150 points less, okay? If we look at the NASDAQ, it's right back to its resistance level, okay? Here, it's missing its resistance level of about 150 points, but let's take a look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is right back at its resistance level, okay? That's its resistance level. So the NASDAQ is trading stronger than the Dow Jones. So if it does break above this 700-ish level, it could go back to the 79-ish, maybe 8,000 area. It might not happen today, tomorrow, but it may go in that direction. Now, what's carrying the markets is obviously Apple and CISCO, as I mentioned before. Let's take a look at Apple just a moment. We had this gap up and then a sell-off, but it's still pretty strong, okay? 2 days gap up, okay, and it sustained itself, okay? So today's really a telling sign because after yesterday, it really sold off, and so it may potentially sell off today. Okay, so that's some concern that I have if it does sell off later today. Okay, so I'd really keep an eye on this, especially between these two components, between CISCO and Apple, to give a look at it. Now, lastly, let's get into Bitcoin because that has really been the play. A nice little rally between our 997-ish level from last week, Thursday, Friday into today as we're trading into the 10,900-ish level. Now, this is a resistance area, so keep that in mind, okay? So every time we hit it, we sell off of it. So potentially if we don't break above it, okay, if we don't maintain this line of 10,747, when we break it, we may see a further correction. Now, it's fine. It's trading in a range and everything's hunky-dory, but I would like to see its character actually coming through because we've had some extreme moves in Bitcoin, coming into this year and throughout the year. So with that said, okay, it would be nice to see some sort of, balance here, okay, at least in the short term until we pick a spot, whether we're going to go higher and sustain it or we're going to go lower. Okay, but I would like to see that breakout actually occur. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.